Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Nerd Out Sanctuary. I'm your host, Michael, and this is episode 14, I believe. Sooner or later, I'm probably gonna lose track, but I'll try my best to keep track. Let me write my note, 14, just to make sure I know what episode I'm on. Well, it's actually on my show notes, so I didn't really need to write that down. So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, I still don't have physical notes, but I have some notes that I just wrote down on some, engineering paper. So, but I also have my notes on my laptop, and then I'm just going to keep on doing that until, I get printer ink. I went to the store the other day, into the thick of it. I try to go at sort of like later at night, right before the store closes, so there's not as many people there. I guess I'm gonna start wearing a mask now because that's like kind of the norm now. Just to help protect myself and others as well. But go there, I got some printer ink, and then got home, and then just to find out that it's the wrong ink, and ink is not very inexpensive, so I was kind of pissed off about that. But hey, maybe I'll just buy it online, or next time I go, I'll get the right one this time. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I got some got some things taken care of since the last episode, so life's not like complete shit now, so that's kind of nice. That's kind of neat. That's good. So things are looking up a little bit here. I mean, I'm still not working yet, but I'm doing this and staying busy doing this stuff, and I love doing it. So I hope you guys are enjoying my content, and I'm gonna keep doing these pretty regularly, at least every week, putting one out every week. Until, I go back to work, which is, I have no idea when, but I have a feeling it might be in like maybe around another month, so we'll see. I don't know. But since the last episode, I talked Tiger King last episode, and apparently they released another episode, and I didn't want to just gloss over me not talking about it. I didn't see it, so I have nothing to say about it. So, but I mean, I just kind of want to basically say that I really don't care, and I'm probably not going to watch it because there's more enjoyable stuff going on and going on, and other and more enjoyable things to watch that I'm going to be talking about this episode. We're going to be talking not a newer show, but they released a newer season, but I'm going all the way back to season 1. I'm going to be reviewing a Netflix original that I just started watching. I'm also going to be reviewing another film that I watched on Hulu, and we're going to be running down another 5 of my top 100s today. So, without further ado, let's just get into that TV show that I watched. It's a Netflix original, and it's called Ozark. That's right. They just released season 3 on Netflix, I think, a week or two ago. When that pretty much happened, I just decided to watch Ozark. I never really got around to watching it when it was, originally coming out. Let me move over a little bit. But, so, I mean, I heard nothing but great things about it. If you're unfamiliar with Ozark, it's about a financial advisor, drags his family, from Chicago down to Missouri, or the Ozarks, where there's a bunch of mountains and there's lakes everywhere and rivers and stuff. And where he has to launder money for the second biggest, the largest cartel in Mexico or some shit. He's laundering money for a drug cartel, and he was doing that. And shit happens in the first episode where he has to go down to Missouri and launder money down there. So, yeah, that's what Ozark is. It stars Jason Bateman, Laura Linney, those are the two. That's the husband and wife. They're the two main leads, and we'll be talking about some other actors who do a really great job in the show a little bit later. But yeah, the creators, Bill Dubuque. I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. And Mark Williams, but an argument probably could be made that this might be the best, or at least most consistent, Netflix original out there, like show-wise, TV show, not including like documentaries or movies. I'm talking about shows, which are usually their driving force in selling their streaming platform. So I mean, if you're like looking back, you got your House of Cards, your Stranger Things, your Orange is the New Blacks, and all the other Netflix original shows, and like I don't know, man. This at least the first season of this show was so good. It's so good. I mean, I would think, like, after I watched the very first episode of the show, I instantly thought that might be, if not the best episode of television I have ever seen. It's one of the best episodes. It's one of the best first ever pilots I have ever seen. Like, talk about intense, like, holy shit moments, really good character building, like setting up. It hooks you in. It's one of those shows that hooks you in from the get-go. And I would probably describe the show as sort of a House of Cards, Breaking Bad hybrid, if that intrigues you a little bit. But it's very dark and intense, like House of Cards is, and has a sort of like anti-hero story. Plus, the family is in on it and they know about what Marty Bird, the main character played by Jason Bateman's character, is doing. They all know, so that's kind of plays into the House of Cards aspect. The husband and wife, Frank and Claire Underwood, were both in on the whole, manipulation and like moving the chess pieces. Like they were a team basically. And this one, the family unit is a team here, which I thought was really cool. Hold on, I want to kind of turn my volume down a little bit, but so that's kind of the House of Cards aspect, and the Breaking Bad is just like you have this anti-hero like put in this like kind of shitty situation. He's trying to navigate his way through it, and I just think the whole vibe of the show, like the whole vibe of like the storyline, reminds me of Breaking Bad a little bit. I mean, that's been the main comparison to this show. It's just like another Breaking Bad. I mean, pump the brakes a little bit. Breaking Bad's like a god tier level show, and I don't know if this is quite there yet. At least yet. I mean, I'm going to be reviewing probably the next subsequent seasons. I'm probably going to like combine season 2 and 3 into one type of review on here, so I might do that the next episode because I'm watching it right now. I'm like at the end of season 2, but the first season, sorry, a little fucking notification went on my laptop. My laptop's, shit in the bed for some reason. But anyway, back to Ozark. Some other similarities too. I recently reviewed a show called The Outsider that's on HBO, and that kind of has a decent amount of similarities to this. I mean, obviously Ozark came before The Outsider because The Outsider just released its first season, I think, this year. Or the end of last year, I believe. And Ozark, I think, started in 2017. Season 1 got released. But, I mean, even in The Outsider, Jason Bateman was involved. And he stars in Ozark, but, like, he kind of guest stars in The Outsider for the first couple episodes. But he directs the first 2 episodes in The Outsider. And I think the very beginning, the first 2 episodes of The Outsider might be its best episodes. And here in Ozark, Bateman directs the first 2 and the last 2 episodes. And basically, again, it just kind of leads me to believe I kind of sung Bateman's praises while I was reviewing The Outsider. And I'm going to do the same here because Bateman kills it directing. It's insane, like how amazing the first 2 and the last 2 episodes are. Like, it's crazy. Like I said, oh, Jesus. I'm fucking losing my shit here. The show just does that to you. It just makes you lose your shit because it's so good. But, yeah, I got my Batman mug here. Nice. But, so he just impressed me a lot with his just... I'm guessing these are his, like, directorial debut. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah. The direction style of both the shows are also very similar. Dark tone, very beautiful imagery. The shot selection is very clean and deliberate. I guess another comparison was that, like, probably The Outsider slows down in the middle of this of the season. It kind of happens here as well, where like the middle episodes are decent, a little bit more slower than the first two and the last probably three. But the difference between Ozark and The Outsider is with The Outsider, with those middle episodes, I was thinking to myself, like, can we speed this along a little bit? Like, this isn't bad, but like, let's get this story moving a little bit. And I never thought that. That never came to mind when I was watching Ozark. So there's something to be said there. So probably the middle episodes of this show this show is in general better than The Outsider. It just is. And The Outsider definitely kind of fell off a little bit more as than the Ozark does. I mean, I think Ozark is on like another level of The Outsider, and I guess we'll see what The Outsider does in the future because there are going to be more seasons of that, I guess. But I mean, here I just think Ozark is definitely a better show overall. So with that, I kind of want to get into some of the acting performances in the show. Bateman again kills it acting. He's the best part of the show. He's the best part. I mean, he's not the only good part about the acting in the show, but like, whoa, dude, like he's on another level. I mean, he's come a long way from doing comedies and sitcoms to now. It's highly, highly impressive. He plays Marty Bird, the husband, the main character, and then his co-star Laura Linney plays Wendy Bird, his wife. And I never really saw. The only thing I really know Laura Linney from is The Truman Show, pretty much. Like, I never really saw her in too much. And, man, she's also phenomenal in this show. Like, everyone brings it. But, like, those two, like, are, like, holy shit. And then another actor who does an amazing job is Julia Gardner. She plays Ruth Langmore. She's like a native to the Missouri Ozarks, and she's part of this sort of like criminal, like hillbilly redneck family or whatever. Hillbillies and rednecks is kind of a important distinction in the show. A little bit of a teaser there. You'll know what I mean if you watch it. But yeah, Julia Gardner, she is a huge standout as well in this show. She is my second favorite part of the show other than Jason Bateman as Marty. Julia Gardner as Ruth is amazing. She's funny. She's intense when she wants to be. She's also very vulnerable and like emotionally vulnerable, but like you root for her even though she's really not like a great person, but she looks out for her own. She has so many qualities that like you identify with, and she's like almost like the hero of the story, like the underdog type of story, like, story amidst this, tomfoolery that's going on around this location with the birds and, shit with the cartel and everything. But yeah, other than them, literally, I'm not going to run down every single actor name here and all the characters, but everyone is amazing. There's no one who shows up gives a poor performance. Like, that's another thing. Like, I want to say, I want to kind of shift, kind of go into another Netflix original, like House of Cards. Say what you will about Kevin Spacey and all that bullshit in the last season, all. Like, the one thing you can't criticize about that show is the performances of the ensemble, of the actors. Obviously, you have your main two of Kevin Spacey and, God, what's her face? Chick who plays Claire. I don't know why I'm forgetting her name. Sometimes my brain does that. But Robin Wright. Sorry about that. I don't know, brain fart. But other than those two, like everyone else around them does. Like the guy who plays Doug, the guy who plays Remy. Everyone in that show just brings it, and they're amazing. And it's same here. Every single actor who shows up, even if like you'll probably recognize them, and then you're like, well, you're amazing. I'm gonna remember you for this performance now. So everyone brings it. There's no like, even the kids are really good. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about the daughter as a character a little bit, but even she does a good job acting, at least. But I'll get into her character a little bit later and kind of my little bit nitpicks at the end here. But I kind of want to get into a little bit of the direction here. Every shot, like the shots of the show, seem to have this like green tint to it, like this forest dark green like filter. It's not a filter. It's kind of like how I discuss Fincher's films. Like there's this like dark tone, like I don't know, dark filter to it, and then it makes the shots look really clean, but also have this dark intensity to everything that's going on. And that's kind of the similar here. I think it had it in The Outsider and here. And like it's kind of similar to House of Cards in that way, but like every shot seems to be like green. And it makes every shot so beautiful. And like I said, the shot selection's so clean, and like you get these overhead shots of the Ozarks. I mean, fun fact though about the show, the actual show is not actually shot in Missouri in the Ozarks. It's actually shot in Atlanta. I think the only like episode that has some Missouri Ozark shots is the pilot. There's only a couple of them, but it mainly shot in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure that's because of like some tax breaks that the show gets for filming there. But I thought that was kind of interesting. But it's still beautiful. The direction is still amazing. Also, like in the beginning of every episode, there's like an O comes up for Ozark, and then there's like 4 different like sort of hieroglyphic like pictures that show up that give you kind of a teaser to to like what's going to be coming ahead, like what's going to be showing up in the show, like a picture that kind of represents something, which I thought was really cool. And plus the song selection at the end of every episode is so appropriate. It just kind of sums up what you just saw for an episode in a musical type of style, which I thought was really cool. But yeah. Plus, you have to give it up to the directors getting the very best out of the actors every single scene, because all of them, like I said, are amazing. And you can tell that there's a consistent vision for the tone and how the show is supposed to go. But with that, I kind of want to get into a little bit of nitpicks that I had with at least the first season. Like I said, the middle of the season is a little bit slower. But I mean, I honestly think, like looking back and like analyzing how I'm thinking, I think it's probably because the first 2 and the last 3 episodes of the show are just ungodly good. Like they're just so good that the middle, 4, I think? No, the middle 5 is just, they just kind of go down a little bit because they're just not as good. Obviously, because, not as much intense, like, holy shit stuff is happening in the middle. But I mean, that doesn't mean they're bad in any way. And it's not going to bore you. It's just that's why it's kind of a nitpick. And my other nitpick is probably just, like, the character of the daughter of Marty and Wendy, the daughter. I don't know, there's this could just be my thing, but, like, she just is annoying as a character. And this just could be, like, a teenage girl type, high school teenage girl thing. And if she's supposed to be an annoying character, okay, cool. That's cool. That adds a little bit of suspense when she's doing something fucking stupid and what she shouldn't be doing. But like, if she's not supposed to be like hated, maybe try to make her not hateable. I mean, Jonah, the son of Marty and Wendy, is not hateable at all. I actually really like Jonah a lot. Like I said, both the actors do a great job of the children, but I just think Charlotte as a character, the daughter, is just very annoying. And I'm pretty sure it still hasn't really changed in the second season, so we'll see. But yeah, other than those 2 things, the show's fucking amazing. Like I said, if you like Breaking Bad, House of Cards, if you like The Outsider, definitely see this one. Honestly, I think anyone would really enjoy this show, especially if you're kind of looking for something to watch now and you haven't seen Ozark. Watch it right now. I'll tell you now, it's better than The Outsider. Right now, it might even be better than House of Cards. Because I mean, of what I've heard, the 3rd season is amazing, and the first season's amazing, and the 2nd season so far has been amazing. So it's clearly a consistent show. I would even probably argue it might be better than Stranger Things. I mean, the first season of Stranger Things is so strong, and the last 2 episodes of season 2 of Stranger Things is so strong. But I thought the 3rd season was meh. it was fine, but like especially now, like getting to season 4, I have no idea what they're gonna do. If they're gonna do the same fucking thing again, it might just be boring. So that's kind of an inconsistent show. Ozark is consistently really good, so watch it. It's amazing. So since we talked about Ozark for 20 fucking minutes, let's move on to a film that I recently watched. I believe it came out in 2014. Oh man, 2014. Damn. That year, the year of 2014 had a plethora of amazing films come out. But including this one, clearly. But I watched on Hulu. It's not a Hulu original film, but I just watched it on Hulu. It's called 71. We're kind of representing the year of 1971. It takes place in 1971. If you're unfamiliar with the film, it's about a young British soldier who is accidentally abandoned by his unit following a riot in a little sketchy situation in Belfast, Northern Ireland, during some kind of a religious or idealistic different like uproar in that territory in Belfast. I mean, you're dealing with the IRA. You're dealing with a conflicts between Catholics and Protestants, and whenever you get religion involved, obviously tensions are going to be really high. And you introduce a military presence in there, shit can start to go awry, and it does here. And it's about a young man who gets left behind by his unit because of the chaos and in this territory that they were. And it's incredibly, incredibly intense. The director is named Yann Demange. It stars Jack O'Connell. He was I think he starred in that what's her face? Angelina Jolie's like directing movie Unbroken, I believe. He's definitely really good. There's a lot of familiar faces in here. I know there's what's his face from Peaky Blinders. I forget his name, but he plays Arthur in Peaky Blinders. He's in it. There's other guys that you kind of recognize. There's a guy from Pacific in there. Yeah, there's recognizable faces, and I watched this, and it's sort of a like war/thriller film, but yeah, like I keep saying, it's a very intense movie. It's mainly It has thriller aspects because it's about this one soldier who gets kind of left behind, and people are trying to find him and kill him, basically. So yeah, obviously that's going to be really intense. I will say the film itself is not the prettiest looking film. Like, we're not talking 1917 or Dunkirk quality. I just think it's just the quality of camera that they're using. But I think the filmmakers here do the best of what they can. Like, the shots and the use of lighting is really well done. I know the overhead shots of Northern Ireland are actually pretty historically accurate for the time, even though you can kind of tell it's fake. But I mean, again, like I said, it's not the prettiest film in the world, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is, the characters and the intensity of the film and the story, and that's what this film nails. Yeah, there's a couple of moments where you're just like, holy shit, I don't know how the fuck you're gonna get out of this one, pal. Like, this is a really, holy crap. There's a lot of really intense moments where your jaw drops and you're like, I did not expect that to happen. Holy shit. So yeah, I would even argue maybe like the shitty camera kind of makes it a little bit more of a gritty and visceral experience. I know I was trying to recall. I don't really believe that this film has a musical score. I mean, I think it does, like in the beginning and the end, but it definitely doesn't have a soundtrack or anything. So that kind of takes that like No Country for Old Men route, where like having no music be playing kind of adds another level of intensity with these scenes that are just like, whoa, bro, like. of these like quiet moments where just like you kind of have to even hold your breath, like almost kind of like, a quiet place where like you don't even want to make a sound in the theater because no one else is, because no one is on the screen, there's no sound at all. And it's kind of similar to like the situations that Jack O'Connell as what's his face, Gary, or Private Cook or whatever. You don't really know. Names aren't important in this one. Basically, it's just it gets to the point. We get to our conflict. He gets left behind, and here we go. There's our movie, and it's him trying to survive and get back to his unit, get back to the barracks, and that's kind of where we are, and that's where we go. And it's short. It's like an hour and 40, hour 30 minutes. Like I said, it's very intense. Yes, it's not the most prettiest film, but I think like I said, the filmmakers do really well with what they're given. So yeah, does it have the movie magic though? Does it have the Mikey's movie magic? Does it? I would say it does. I would say like it's very. I was thinking about how to classify films, because clearly films are more probably the most, what I'm probably going to mostly talk about on this channel, other than probably I guess television. Like I said, video games occasion, comics occasionally, but I think it's mainly films and TV. And I was thinking about developing sort of a tier list of films, but until then, this one definitely has the movie magic. Is it the greatest thing ever? No. I mean, again, yes, it's not a very pretty looking film, but it makes the intense moments very intense, and it's a great watch, and it's on Hulu. If you kind of like if you like films like A Quiet Place, No Country for Old Men, I think you would like this one very much. If you kind of like a little bit more of a historical conflict type of film, if you like looking back, I think this is definitely one that's really good. There's also moments where it kind of had a Black Hawk Down type of vibe. I mean, Black Hawk Down is a fantastic movie, and this one's not as good, but I mean, there's definitely moments of someone is being left behind. We need to go, try to find him and rescue him, because, if he's gonna be dead very soon. So yeah. And there's some very pretty gruesome moments in this one too. So I would say, especially war, terroristic violence kind of rubs you the wrong way, and it's kind of hard for you to watch. Maybe skip this one. But if that doesn't bother you and you like your intense visceral experiences, I would definitely check 71 out. I checked it out on Hulu, so there you go. All right. How are we on time? Damn, half an hour. This one's going to be a short episode, I guess. This one might be short. We'll see how this one. I'll probably take a little bit longer talking about these films, because I actually have a little bit of notes written down here. But let's get into the next 5 in my top 100 films here. I'm going to be running down 90 through 86, which is next 5. I like to say this beginning before I run down every 5. Just for a disclaimer, for all these movies, all these films have the movie magic. All of them I recommend highly. All of them I love. I'm not going to be doing an in-depth review on each of them. I'm just going to be talking, running down the title of the film, maybe the synopsis, maybe kind of what it's about, if it's kind of an obscure, and I don't think a lot of people have seen it. But if it's a really popular classic, I'm probably not going to talk about what it's about. And I might describe some aspects that I love about it, and whether or not it might move up in the list or move down or get bumped out of the list. We'll see. So yeah, without further ado, number 90, we're getting out of the 90s. We have Raging Bull. That's right. It came out in 1980. Raging Bull, classic Scorsese film. Possibly, arguably, Robert De Niro's best performance of all time. I don't know. I would have to think about that, but I mean, I'm sure there's an argument to be made that this might be his best performance. Story of violence, and how someone a rise and a fall of our hero, and just what brings him up and what brings him down, and how a character, it's a great character study of how someone deals with that, and having like person's life just kind of get crumbled down from around him. And yeah, one of Martin Scorsese's best. I mean, as you probably know, Martin Scorsese is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. I mean, I'm talking some of my favorite films, and this one included because it's in my top 100, obviously. Got my Batman mug. But, yeah. I mean, also, like, other supporting actors in this as well. I mean, Kathy Moriarty, Joe Pesci's in it, Frank Vincent, he's been in a lot of Martin Scorsese mob films. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's phenomenal. I don't really think I need to rationalize why I love Raging Bull, because it's a classic. I mean, it has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes if you care about that. But yeah, Raging Bull, number 90. It's the shit. If you haven't watched it, check it out. You might like it. Will this rise or fall on my list? I don't think it's going to rise, because it's definitely not my favorite Scorsese film. And I never really find myself rewatching Raging Bull a lot. But I mean, it's a very memorable experience when you watch it, though. So I don't know. I don't think this will be falling out of my list, but I don't think it will be rising either. I think it's 90 is kind of a good spot for it in my opinion. So, number 89 in my top 100, we have another classic. There's a decent amount of classics on here, at least these first three. But for number 89, we have Apocalypse Now. Came out in 1979, which is a decent long time ago. We got a drama, mystery, war film. I don't know why I said that. I just read it off of IMDb. But we have a long one. Raging Bull is kind of long, but Apocalypse Now is even longer. Classic war film, probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, one of the greatest war films of all time. I'm sure an argument can be made by, this one and Platoon, but Apocalypse Now is classic. Martin Sheen, Marlon Brando, Robert Duvall. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Classic line. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola. He's the guy who did the Godfather movies. But Martin Sheen's never been better in anything. Even Marlon Brando is phenomenal. And if you know anything about the production of this one, I know I forget what the title of the documentary is about the production of this film, but I've never watched it, but I've read things about the production. I've heard things about the production of this film, and it was not an easy one. So if you've seen this film, first, if you haven't seen this film, watch it. It is a disturbing one. It's a hard film to watch, and again, kind of, I mean, if I would choose like Apocalypse Now or Raging Bull, I might choose Raging Bull to watch, but because this one's pretty. I mean, it's about Vietnam War, and it's about how, people can get consumed by it and how it can emotionally disturb people, or just, war itself. And yeah, it's quite insane. I'm not going to go over the synopsis of the film. If you haven't seen Apocalypse Now, just watch it. You should watch Apocalypse Now. But yeah, this is probably one of the highest rated ones on here, 98% Rotten Tomatoes score, deservingly so. It's probably one of the best war films of all time. I would probably say it's the best Vietnam War film of all time. But yeah, if you haven't heard about the production of this one, it's very interesting. Like Marlon Brando shows up to the set overweight and doesn't know any of his lines, so he actually had to have, like them read to him. I'm pretty sure that like scene where he's given that monologue, the horror. Like that whole monologue, I'm pretty sure was just read to him. But like he still kills it, which is hilarious. I mean, that just speaks to how amazing Marlon Brando was. I mean, he could do that, I guess. He could just be a lazy piece of shit and just, show up overweight and fucking not know any of his lines. But yeah, fantastic film. Will this rise? Probably not. Will it fall? Has a chance to, mainly because of the rewatchability. I don't feel, again, kind of like Raging Bull, but even more so, I don't really find myself rewatching this one It's kind of like in that sort of category of like Requiem for a Dream, 12 Years a Slave type of films that are just kind of a little too emotionally disturbing to really rewatch. But I mean, like, when you watch it, you're like, that was a phenomenal film. You know, it's kind of like one of those. But I mean, this is a classic. It's a classic film, filled with amazing performances, amazingly shot. Yeah. Another fun fact, what's his name? Lawrence Fishburne, who he co-stars in the film, actually lied about his age to be in the film, which is kind of cool because people lied about their age to go to war, which I thought was pretty interesting. So, fun fact, Lawrence Fishburne is so young in this one. I'm pretty sure he's like 17 or something like that. But yeah, very cool. So, next, number 88, another classic, but switching gears a little bit, we have Aladdin, like Disney animated feature Aladdin, the classic one, not the fucking live action bullshit that they're doing, the actual animation Aladdin made in 1992. It's a classic. I mean, Robin Williams as the genie is, like, oh my god. Like, I don't know why they didn't just animate the genie in the live action when Will Smith is the genie. I mean, I don't want to hate on Will Smith because I love Will Smith, and I know he probably did a lot of work for that live action role, but, like, fuck off. Like, get the fuck out of here. I didn't hear anything about Aladdin. I didn't see it. I'm not fucking paying to see those live action fucking movies. Like, just don't. If there's any announcement, just don't go see those because it's just Disney kind of being fucking lazy and remaking the same fucking shit just in live action and selling it to you, and it makes a shit ton of money, and it kind of bothers me a little bit, and they're not even that good. They're not even good. Like, just watch the original. Just watch Aladdin, the animated Aladdin. Like, what? Just say to yourself, would you rather watch the live action version of Aladdin or the animated version of Aladdin? Come on, like, Jesus. It's just a money play. That's all Disney is now, which is a shame, but part of the reason why Star Wars is kind of tanking, but that's a discussion for another episode. Watch my very first episode ever. It's terrible audio quality, terrible video quality, but I think I have some pretty good points in there about the Star Wars franchise. Number 87. Oh, it's actually kind of weird. This film actually has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's number 87 on my list. That's really weird. Okay, I'm really creeped out now. But anyway, touching that this is also a very creepy movie, 28 Days Later. If you're unfamiliar with 28 Days Later, it stars Cillian Murphy. It's directed by Danny Boyle, who also did, what else? I think he did Trainspotting. He directed 127 Hours, Slumdog Millionaire. Trainspotting. It's written by Alex Garland. He wrote this movie. He wrote a film called a hard sci-fi film called Sunshine, which is also starring Cillian Murphy. He also directed Ex Machina and recently Annihilation, two phenomenal hard sci-fi films that I highly recommend. And I wouldn't be surprised if either of those kind of cheat their way into this list in the future as I like watch them even more over time. But he wrote and Danny Boyle directed, stars Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris. What's his name? Hold on. Why is he not Brendan Gleeson? The guy who plays Mad Eye Moody in the Harry Potter films. He's in it. Definitely an incredibly intense experience. It's about a guy who wakes up from a hospital and a zombie apocalypse happened. Sound familiar? Yes. If you're thinking of The Walking Dead, well, if this film didn't exist, neither would The Walking Dead, because the creator of the comic book of The Walking Dead says, my primary influence was 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later is actually a very huge pioneer in the whole zombie apocalypse genre, because pretty much before 28 Days Later, every single zombie film was always when the apocalypse was happening. Like, as soon as it was happening, like the day of, like, oh shit, zombies are here, what the hell are we gonna do? This one is the first one that kind of tells what happens after that. Time has passed since this apocalypse have happened, and these zombies, or these rage virus zombies have been around for a while. You don't really know how long, at least not, I don't remember, but it's the first zombie or apocalypse film that kind of deals with the life after, what happens after. Maybe these zombies are not the only thing you have to worry about. You might have to worry about other people, because people who survive this thing might not be the best kind of people. All the nice people are dead. So that's kind of the why The Walking Dead is so good, is because of this film. This film is incredibly intense. I think it's probably the most intense and scary zombies have ever been. I mean, maybe unless, like, you're talking The Last of Us. The Last of Us is pretty fucking scary. But, I mean, this one, like, zombies run. They fucking run at you. They're called rage zombies, where basically these zombies just have this, like, heightened, like, emotion of rage that they just want to kill you and eat you, basically. And their eyes are all red and shit, and it's very scary. There's a lot of amazingly scary moments. Again, it's not the best looking film, kind of like 71 was, but like the acting and the shots and just like atmosphere of the film really are amazing, and I would highly recommend it. If zombie movies aren't your thing, I guess stay clear of this one, but I mean, this is probably the best zombie film ever made. So yeah, check this one out. It's amazing. Will it rise and fall in the future? Possibly, but I think 87 is probably a good spot for it. And since the Rotten Tomatoes score is 87%, I think it's fitting for it to be number 87. So, final film for the day here. Number 86, we have Training Day. So, yeah, he directed by Antoine Fuqua, written by David Ayer. He also wrote and directed End of Watch, which is another phenomenal movie, but it stars Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke's sort of kind of like a rookie type of police officer. Denzel's the veteran. He's kind of showing him around, and the entire like narrative of this one is told in one day. It is a one-day affair from the morning to the late hours of the night. It's probably one of the most intense cop movies I've ever seen. I think there's an argument to be made that it's my favorite Denzel Washington performance of all time. It's one of the best villain performances of all time. King Kong ain't got shit on me. It's amazing. It's just amazing. One of the best death scenes I've ever seen. They're both cops in LA. It kind of gives you an in on, like, how corrupt, these cops could be, running like drug rings of their own and shit. But yeah, it's a phenomenal film. I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score. It has a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I thought was kind of surprising. But I mean, whatever. It's Rotten Tomatoes. It doesn't really fucking matter. It means nothing to me. But yeah, again, really intense, visceral experience. It's kind of like a constant theme. I don't know. I really like intense, visceral experiences. I might be just a little bit sick in the head, but hey, you know what? I have my taste, guys. All right, I got my taste. Shut the fuck up. All right, get off my ass. All right, I gave you an animated film, a Disney animated film. All right, I have a wide range of tastes. I literally can watch anything. But anyway, Training Day. Probably my favorite Denzel performance. It's very suspenseful. It's amazing. Ethan Hawke is phenomenal. Ethan Hawke is underrated, in my opinion. I think he's such a phenomenal actor. He should be in more shit, but whatever. Ethan Hawke is he's not the greatest, but I mean, he's amazing. Came out in 2001, Training Day, directed by Antoine Fuqua. What else did Fuqua direct? I know he's directed other things. Let's see if my thing will load. Directed The Equalizer. I guess. I think Training Day is probably his biggest film, which I think is true. But yeah. Will this rise and fall? I don't think it's gonna rise. I think if anything, it might fall in my list. I was thinking about it again. I mean, I love Training Day, but I don't know how, like, if I love it this number 86 much ahead of, some of these films like 28 Days Later, Apocalypse Now, Raging Bull, Aladdin. I don't know. We'll see. But, my list is what it is now, and it might change in the future. But I mean, it's 100 films, guys. Like, chill the fuck out. My things change. I think like I said, once I get to 50, that's pretty much set in stone. Those rankings are a little pretty set in stone. But anyway, that's my next 5. That's number 90 through 86 of my top 100, guys. And that's pretty much it for the episode. And if you've been a follower of my show, you know that I like to give a sort of message at the end of every one of my episodes, and that's it's okay to not be okay. I know, again, times are pretty tough right now. I was seeing them for a bit, but I mean, again, things have gotten better. I've taken care of some things that were really kind of looking to be not good, but it kind of turned around. So like I'm saying, tomorrow is a new day, and tomorrow might not suck like today sucks. So it's okay to not be okay, but persevere, try to get through it, try to use those negative experiences as positives and use them as personal growth moments. And that's what I try to do. And I also realize that some things are really hard to get over, but it's always possible. And, I'm always here, for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy these episodes, these Nerd Out Sanctuary episodes. I want it to be kind of a safe place for you guys to come and, nerd out about stuff. I'm Michael. If you don't know, if you're watching on YouTube, this is also just a podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much everywhere where you can get podcasts, which are those are the main platforms. But again, I'm on here. If you're just listening to the podcast, I'm also a YouTube channel, Nerd Out Sanctuary. I clip these episodes up to for little mini reviews and such, but I also upload the actual full episode. But I appreciate all you guys who watch and comment. Please comment. I will reply to you. I appreciate any feedback. Tell me that I'm a piece of shit or something like that. Tell me if I'm doing a good job, whatever. I appreciate anything. Any feedback is very, very helpful, and I just thank all you guys who are, watching, tuning into me, and tell your friends, tell your family about me. I would highly appreciate it. Anyone who to come in and, I'm here to give you guys really great recommendations and to review awesome stuff. I rarely talk about shit that sucks. But I usually talk about things that someone will like, or maybe you will. So yeah, that's me. I'm Michael. This is Nerd Out Sanctuary, and so 50 minutes. All right, not bad. Not a bad time, but yeah. So thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Nerd Out Sanctuary. Bye.